語喉の時間です
Hi guys, how's it going? This is Kaz. I am going to talk about the concept of Soramimi. Soramimi, yes. In Japanese, Sora means sky, and Mimi is ear. Okay, Soramimi is the what we experience as a Japanese when we learn English. And we often have this Soramimi experience when we listen to English songs. If you know Bryan Adams, his song Cuts Like a Knife. When a Japanese person listens to Cuts Like a Knife, he goes like, cuts like a knife. We hear instead, katsura ga nai, which means I don't have a wig. We don't always hear meaningful sentences, of course. So Soramimi is happening all the time. Like, if we hear let it be, right? Instead of hearing let it be, we hear let it be. So it's a little bit like katakanization of what we hear. Another example from a song maybe, I like AC/DC and their tune, one of their songs is called Giving a Dog a Bone. Giving a dog a bone. Okay. But I think most Japanese people hear it as Giving a dog a bone. It doesn't mean anything in this case.
Just to give him a dog a bone. Give him a dog a bone. To give him a dog a bone.
So there's even a contest of finding, English phrases that sound exactly like a Japanese phrase, and oftentimes, or all the time, they mean something different. When I was, I think in middle school, there was a very popular radio program on Saturday night, midnight, called All Night Nippon, All Night Nippon, hosted by Tsuruko, and he had this corner where he introduces a bunch of songs like this, and it was so funny because I can't really even say some of the examples.
Army bunk, army child, army crew, army car, army bunk, army child, army crew, army car.
More recently, Tamori-san he's a very famous comedian, and he has a TV program. I don't even know though it's still going on, but he has a program called Soramimi Hour. It's probably a segment of the larger program that he hosts. Soramimi Hour. It's like a Soramimi Hour, and he introduces a lot of songs.
Into the air with the ripple sail.
Now, I want to talk about why Soramimi occurs, and it's fundamentally the difference of syllable structure of Japanese and English. They are so different. The two languages are so very, very different from each other in terms of how we construct a syllable. And if you are interested, you can read a book, Eigo Nodo, but this was all written in Japanese. But so syllables. I mean, if you are not Japanese, maybe you are an American or whoever you are, whatever nationality your nationality is, that's a weird English sentence. Syllables are such common concepts, such a common concept for you, of course, right? Especially for Chinese people, you read each Chinese character in one syllable. So, like I love you in Chinese is 我爱你, and you read it with 3 syllables, 我爱你. So, but for Japanese people, it's not entirely clear what a syllable is, partly because our writing doesn't really correspond to the concept of syllables. In Chinese, like one character is 1 syllable. Okay. In Korean also, one Hangul letter corresponds to 1 syllable. But in Japanese, it's not entirely clear. Like hiragana, yes, katakana, yes, but not kanji. Eki means a station in Japanese, and it's clearly 2 syllables, but you use 1 Chinese character. Okay. What else? There are lots of examples like this. Hiroshima, where I am from. Hiroshima is obviously 4 syllables in hiragana, but in terms of kanji, it's just 2. So for us Japanese, the concept of syllable is not super clear. We are not thinking in terms of syllables. So that's why when we learn English, we don't really learn in terms of syllables. Like, how are you? It's 3 syllables, but we're not really thinking that. I think the most famous example in this kind of comparison is McDonald's. Right? In Japanese, people probably would say McDonald's, like McDonald's. It's 6 syllables, but in English, it is 3. McDonald's. And the point here is that most Japanese people are not aware how important it is to read McDonald's as McDonald's, because nobody told us. So in our book, Eigo Nodo, we tell people, okay, in English you really, really have to keep the correct count of syllables, otherwise people will not understand you. Like, McDonald's is an obvious case, but there are a lot of subtle cases, like children. I don't think Japanese people have any idea in terms of how many syllables, there is in this word. It's children. In Japanese, if I write it in hiragana or katakana, chirudoren, so it would be 4 syllables. It's a 4-syllable word. But in reality, you have to say children. Okay, so that's 2 syllables. And now the problem here is this. You may think, okay, so just teach them. Tell them that it is a 2-syllable word, and that solves it. The answer is kind of no. Because Japanese people, half of Japanese people cannot say children because of their mouth-based pronunciation. They resonate sound in the mouth. Okay, children. They really have to use the throat or the neck to say children. You really have to produce this kind of gaikokujin voice, real deep and resonant voice, and to say children. If you say it in the mouth, it will become children. Okay, I want to give you one more example. Like trip. Trip. I think most Japanese people will say trip, so it becomes like more than 1 syllable, right? So you gotta be able to speak from the neck almost to be able to kind of put all these sounds together in 1 syllable. Like if you study the word trip, there's 2 consonants, T-R, and then I, which is a vowel, and P, which is a consonant. So when there's more than 1 consonant, Japanese people have difficulty replicating it, okay? Because they tend to go tori, tori. How about the word spring? Okay, how many consonants there is in the word spring? It's SPR, and then in the middle of it there's a vowel, and then two consonants, NG, right? So I think Japanese people will say spring. Okay, so what they need to do is to push it down, push the resonation area down to the almost the bottom of the neck. And by the way, this is what we teach in the book Eigo Nodo. So I hope you can tell your friends, Japanese friends, that they just pick up our book and then they'll be fine. Now, there's another problem. I have been teaching Eigo Nodo for the past 10 years, and I kind of quickly realized that if you are from Tokyo or just Kanto region, your speech is really stiff and your throat is really stiff. So it's kind of hard for them to use the neck to resonate sounds. If you are from western part of Japan, like myself, I'm from Hiroshima, and many people are from Kyushu, Okinawa, Shikoku, and Kansai too. I feel like Kansai area is like it's a mix of people. Half of them speak like West Japan, half of them speak like really stiff, like Tokyo way, and they speak really fast. So I would say in Kansai there are two types of people who can relax their throat and they can speak good English, versus they tend to be kind of stiff and they have difficulty with English. But anyways, it depends on the dialect. It depends on the dialect that you speak. So if you only speak Tokyo way of Tokyo dialect or Hyojungo, it is very difficult to say children. They really struggle, children. Now I want to give you, if you are teaching English in Japan or if your friends are Japanese, you can give them a quick test to diagnose. Okay? Tell them or ask them to say dear. If they can say it in one syllable, like dear, then they will be okay. If they say instead dia, the word, one syllable word splits into two syllables, they say dia, then most likely they are from Eastern Japan, like Tokyo. And I would say half of people from Kansai, like Osaka, Kyoto, maybe half of them will say dia, and the other half will be like dear. So I'm trying to connect this whole thing now. It's not just a matter of telling Japanese people syllable is really important. Half of Japanese people, depending on where they are from, what dialect they speak, they cannot easily keep the correct count of syllables because their throat is really stiff. Okay? Even if you tell them say children, they will be saying children. Okay? So it's a really big issue. One issue is that Japanese people haven't even realized that we have such a diverse linguistic kind of situation. I want to say that I am the first guy who has realized this, because about 5, 6, 7 years ago I was teaching a group of Japanese people, about 10 of them, and half of them were able to just imitate how I kind of speak English. Half of them could not. So I was wondering what is making this difference, and I realized, okay, it is where they are from. So I asked them to sit by the order of where they are from, in terms of from West Japan to East Japan, and I realized, okay, if I ask them, each one of them, I say dear. So people from Kyushu, okay, Chugoku region, which includes Hiroshima, Yamaguchi, and all these places, they will say dear. But somehow in between Osaka, Kyoto, people begin to say dia. Okay, so it's like a dear, 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 dia, dia, dia. So that's what I found, and to this day I think I am correct. So the point is, in Japan we have different styles of speech, and in terms of how we resonate, how we vocalize, you know. So why not we utilize what we already have in Japan instead of always trying to learn from native speakers of English, which is very important. But we have to look at ourselves and how diverse we are culturally, linguistically. So people from Tokyo can learn how we pronounce in West Japan. Now the problem is the Ministry of Education. Okay. Most people who work for the Ministry of Education went to the University of Tokyo. So they are more used to this stiff and choppy style of speaking. And for them, it's very difficult to realize that you got to be able to produce this kind of voice to speak good English, right? So this is a struggle. Because when I talk and explain this, you know, it's very difficult to really communicate about this because many people can't tell the difference between let it go and ready go, let it go, ready go, right? So that's really hard to explain this and to achieve understanding from people who have like hearing or listening difficulty because of their dialect. Anyways, nobody really is talking about this, and I have to say I'm the only one who's been pounding on this point because it's kind of irritating, right? To speak better English, you have to really, really resonate your sound like this, and then you have to really produce, how do you say, the correct. You have to really keep your, how do you say, なんて言ったらいいでしょうかね。Syllable is really important.
英語のどまた明日